According to reports, an outgoing Inuit member of parliament in Canada said that the country is a country built on the oppression of Indigenous people and its history is stained with blood. The Canadian parliament says pretty words like reconciliation, diversity, and inclusion, but finds no room in its budget for the protection of Indigenous people's basic human rights. Colonialism is not over, but has only adopted a new name. The Canadian government should be responsible for the ongoing colonial acts. What's your comment?
长期以来，加拿大一直以人权教师爷自居。
Canada always assumes the authority to lecture others on human rights. It is said to be leading a so-called statement on human rights at the 47th regular session of the UN Human Rights Council to continue smearing and attacking China. Ironically, Canada itself has a deplorable human rights record. It is in no position to wantonly criticize other countries in this regard. The dark chapter of Canadian residential schools has been known to all, but the Canadian government mutilation of Indigenous people's rights goes far beyond that. In 1876, Canada passed the Indian Act, fencing in native Indians at over 2,200 barren, narrow, and isolated reserves with harsh living conditions. Even today, many of the reserves still lack safe drinking water. Some even face the threat of floods or danger posed by hazardous waste. In 2014, a UN Special Rapporteur report describes the socio-economic conditions of the Canadian Indigenous people as distressing. In 2018, the Committee Against Torture considered the 7th periodic report of Canada and adopted concluding observations that voiced concern over reports of extensive forced and coerced sterilization of Indigenous women and girls. The Inuit member of parliament you quoted also said that in today's Canada, residential schools have evolved into foster care, while genocide against Indigenous people has taken the form of a suicide epidemic. Her charges are just heartbreaking. The life of Indigenous people matters. The Canadian side must reflect upon such inhumane acts, which cannot be glossed over with mere apologies or pretty words. Canada claims to be a model of human rights and an open advocate of the cause. However, it is reticent and blind to its own crimes and stains in human rights that can never be washed away or justified. Such hypocrisy and double standard is disgraceful. Canada should stop deceiving itself and others, take a hard look at its own grave human rights issues, and address them with the responsibility it bears to history and the whole world.